Welcome to SR Studios, where we highlight different ministries and get to know some of our ministry leads. And today, I have a very special guest because not only is she the Syosset Cafe lead, but she's also my sister. So welcome, Josephine Giardino, to the podcast.
Thank you, Maria Buffalino.
So tell me a little bit about how you got started in the cafe ministry at Syosset.
So I got started about 3 years ago. Has it been 3 years that we've been at SRC right now?
5 years.
5.
It's been
Okay.
5 years, yeah.
So about 5 years ago, we started coming to SRC right after the COVID pandemic. And Pastor Jerry had relayed that the ministries were starting back up, in particular the cafe ministry. And I always wanted to have a little cafe of my own. So I thought it would be fun. Plus, I don't like doing this, which is what you like to
roped
do.
her into it, guys.
I like being behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I figured the cafe would be something fun to do. So after service that day, I went to Pastor Leslie and said, when it starts up, keep me in mind. And so I want to say a few weeks later, Pastor Jerry called me and cafe ministry started up. We started up with coffee first. And then as soon as the restrictions due to COVID started diminishing, we were able to start bagels and pastries and fun things like that.
So tell me a little bit about like what you do for the cafe. Like what are some like tasks? If I wanted to be on the cafe team, like what would I do?
So for the most part, cafe team is a great time. The people who serve are amazing. What I do, I personally go to BJ's every week. I get the snacks and things that are needed. I come in, I try to tidy up a little bit. But basically, we start out just making some coffee and putting pastries out on a table. It's really that simple. It's not complicated at all. The machines are easy to use, and it's a great time because you get to see everyone that comes to service and you get to have fun conversations and see people. So it really is just a great time.
What would you say to the person that's like, I'm just like serving coffee or bagels? Like, how do you see this ministry really, I guess, just in like making the Sunday service experience better?
Well, I can't speak for everyone, but for myself, like I was saying, I come in and I set everything up. And it's interesting because I don't really see it as a ministry. I see it as something that I just enjoy doing. So I come in, I set everything up, and then I look forward to seeing who I see that day, whether it's someone I met in a small community group or whether I met someone on a missions trip and I see them that day. I just enjoy, I'm able to have conversations, casual conversations with people throughout the 3 services.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely allows people to like linger and fellowship and just kind of get to know each other. And
Right.
so it's like you can just have a cup of coffee with someone after service or
Exactly.
grab one on the way in. But what was really cute? One of the memories that I loved is that when you and Mike, your husband, are serving, Pastor Leslie's kids really like to come in and help as well. I saw a little Kate with her apron and stuff. So tell me a little bit about that.
So that all started because I believe Pastor Leslie needed someone to watch the kids. I guess she had to work and her husband was somewhere else. So I texted her and said, I'm going to be at the cafe serving starting at 8 and then the rest of the 3 services. So if you'd like, I can totally watch Kate and Sam, bring them on in. And it was the cutest thing ever because Kate came with her apron, her pink apron, and Sam, and they got ready to go to work. And it was so much fun. So now it's actually a thing where every time Michael and I serve, I text Pastor Leslie and let her know. And Kate and Sam come in and we got them. So Kate loves cornbread and Sam loves the little donuts. And so we started doing Katie cornbread and Sammy donuts.
Yeah,
and
I
we
love
made
their
them name
nicknames.
tags and everything. They're the cutest things ever.
Yeah, since I'm on the connection team, like I got to watch this all go down, and everyone loves when you guys serve together because it's just really cute.
It's fun.
And they really serve.
Oh,
They love
they're a
it.
huge
Yeah,
help. I
they're a
love
huge
when they
help.
serve. When they serve,
Yeah.
they're awesome. Yeah.
It's amazing. So, tell us a little bit about just the partnership that Shelter Rock Church has with the coffee beans, because I thought that was really interesting. And I think it's important to highlight because I don't think many people know that we have this partnership.
It's interesting because I thought that everyone did. And then I ran into a few people who said we had no clue. We just know that it's a great coffee. So we use Grounds for Restoration. It's a company that was started to help victims of trafficking and severe abuse. So what they do is they started up this company. They started creating these coffee beans, and 100% of the proceeds goes towards helping victims. So it's awesome.
That's
so not
incredible.
only do we get to make a great cup of coffee, it goes towards a great endeavor.
Yeah. I just love how SRC has these partnerships because, it's you think you're like just drinking a cup of coffee, but we are serving the community at whole, and we are living lives that are transformative for Jesus. So
absolutely. I think it was a great idea what SRC did with the coffee.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so please grab a cup of coffee because it says it even on here. It says we give 100% of our profits rather to restore victims of human trafficking and violent abuse in the U.S. and globally.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's amazing. And it is really good coffee.
So if somebody were to want to be on, the cafe ministry and they're a little like, oh, I don't know, I'm not a people person, or
oh, you don't have to be. You don't have to be. I'm not a people person. I'm not. I do like being behind the scenes. It's great. I mean, contact us, contact me anytime and try it out. Even just for one service, come in. The morning service, we usually, it's not hard, but it's the one where we set everything up. So it's the one that takes a little bit longer, but everything else is filling in the pastries, the cookies, making the coffee. It's really simple. It's a lot of fun. And honestly, if you want to meet people, you can. And if you want to stay behind the scenes, you stay behind the scenes.
Yeah. So I got you to come out, which is good. So I thank you for that. I guess I'm going to have to owe you another trip to BJ's where you get your stuff.
Yeah.
It was actually really funny. She told me she had her trip like down to 10 minutes. Yeah. And we just...
So this happened just this past week. Maria wanted to come with me. So I said, absolutely. I've got it down to 15 minutes max at BJ's, right?
Yeah.
We went to BJ's, and it just so happened to be the weekend where they decided to rearrange the entire warehouse. I had no idea where anything was, so it would have taken 15 minutes, took about 40.
Yeah.
And then Maria got really mad.
I did, because we were supposed to go for a hike. We were going to drop off the stuff at church, and then, it was 12 o'clock before we knew it. We had to go back home, but I got to see like a little bit of behind the scenes of what you do on a weekly basis. But that's more your task, I guess. When people sign up, they wouldn't be necessarily going to BJ's.
Yes,
I'm
the one who'll go to BJ's and have everything set to the side for everyone to use then on Sunday morning.
Perfect. And this is a ministry that's at every campus, not only Syosset, but Manhasset and Westbury. So there's a leader like you that they can contact. But if they want to serve at SRC and Syosset, how can they contact you?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well,
they can email me, I guess.
Yes,
at J Buffalino,
B as in boy,
U F as in Frank, OLINO @gmail.com.
Yes, and she'll give you her number then. But there's also a new way that you can contact her if you just go to any of the Syosset or Manhasset or Westbury campus update page. You can actually click on there and request to join, and an email will go right to Josephine. So
perfect.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share about the ministry, just how it's helped you, serving at Shelter Rock, just how it's helped you with like your relationship with Jesus?
Honestly, it's been great. even though I'm not a people person and I like to be behind the scenes, it has pushed me to make friendships and see just how people relate to one another. Being able to step back, being behind that counter and watching people pray for one another, watching people do little huddles and pray, and just the smiles that you see on people's faces, it's been very touching. And I think those are my God moments. Those are my Jesus moments. Those are the moments where I see what happens. And even though I never thought the ministry I have is anything like big, it's not a big deal, but I think it is in a way, because making that coffee, getting those pastries allows people to hang out and have those encounters with one another. And I get to see that behind the scenes without having to be out there,
Yeah, and I've noticed even when you serve, it just helps that connection point of just like grabbing a bagel and coffee. And since I work on the connection team, it's been really nice to have those prayer huddles together where, Chris, he kind of like gathers us up, and the cafe is part of that as well.
Right.
And so we get to like pray for one another if there's any prayer requests for the day.
Absolutely.
So we're ready to kind of pour into other people because we've been poured into.
Exactly.
So it's a great way to make friendships, just to be even on a team.
100%.
You guys have like fellowship. You've had a barbecue together, right?
Yes. Actually, Fenny and Wade June are the ones that threw the barbecue, and which was so sweet of them. And Michael and I are planning to have one hopefully before the summer's over. So yes.
So you have a community where you can pray together, or just hang out together, go out bowling or whatever. But and you guys have like a WhatsApp chat too, right? Where
that's something I just started. So it's easy to communicate.
Right. So I think it's a great ministry to start on.
It's a lot of fun, and you get warm bagels Sunday morning. Great bagels.
They really are good bagels.
That's how I get Michael to come and serve.
So Mike's her husband. He's been dragged onto the team. So you'll see them. If you come to Shelter Rock in Syosset, you'll see them hanging out at the cafe with many other people that serve and just love and pour out to people. So thank you for doing what you do, because even though you said like, you're a behind the scenes type person, or you don't think it's really doing anything for people, I've seen it in my own life and I've seen in other people's lives that people do end up lingering. Because if you're new to church, or, you don't really know what to do with yourself, grab a cup of coffee and someone is ready to greet you. So thank you for that, because it is important. Everything we do is important. We're the hands and feet of Jesus. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
You're very
My
welcome.
sister.
Oh, I've completely seen Michael grow in the relationships he has formed here at church. He has grown in all aspects. He's become more mature. He's become more patient. He's become less angry. He was always kind, always a good, kind person. That's never been anything. I mean, he's always just been a good person. But I think he's just grown. Even his relationship he's been more self-reflective, more generous, loving, for sure. I think more open-minded to things that he was less accepting of. He's grown. I think he's grown tremendously. I think it's easier for me to see the growth in him than the growth in myself. I'm not sure if there's been a growth in me.
I feel like for myself, being that I'm on the outside looking into your relationship, I feel like I've seen growth just as an inspiration for like your marriage as a unit. How you've worked together, your respective roles of, as a wife and as a husband. And, we were talking about like having a servant's heart, doing cafe, but I've noticed that servant's heart, or that sacrificial portion of your relationship between you and Mike, that maybe like wasn't there before.
Right.
Being your sister and like kind of seeing the progression of your relationship.
Oh yeah. So, our relationship had completely changed from when we started coming here to church.
Yes.
I mean, we used to argue a lot and not listen to each other at all. now I think that, not I think, I know we listen to each other for sure. Arguing at a minimum, I mean, we argue about silly things,
Right.
but the major arguments are gone. We definitely, I mean, Jesus is definitely part of our relationship in many ways. We'll pray together. We pray together before we eat. Michael will pray over me, in front of me. I have to still learn to pray in front of others. I think I still get a little shy about that. But oh, for sure, that has changed tremendously. I mean, you've seen it from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, the running joke is like, because I'm still single, that obviously like I hang out with you guys a lot. You guys are my best friends. So I've been
Right.
having to have that like view of just like seeing your relationship from start to finish. And I just coming to Shelter Rock has completely changed just even your relationship towards me. You know, I feel like you guys are a lot more patient, and I just feel like we really think through our decision making and allow the Holy Spirit to work in our lives in a way that like wasn't there before. But yeah, I see growth in our family, how, it's affecting even others in our family.
I think sometimes we take for granted the little things that we don't see the changes until we sit back for a second and realize what has happened in these 5 years. I can't even believe it's been 5 years. But yeah, we've had so many God moments that we seem to take for granted. Like I'll say, I don't know if I've seen any growth, but when you sit back, you're like, oh my goodness, God has been all over everything we've been doing in a tremendous
like
amount of
we
ways.
got to go to Honduras together.
Yes.
We served on a mission trip. We
mended relationships.
And families. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, because that was huge.
Well, that's Michael's story mostly, but
there was a part with you with your in-laws as well.
We didn't get along. It was a rough beginning. It was tough. And I know Michael was praying about it a lot. I prayed about it a lot. And I don't know, it was a God thing, because I know my old self, I know I can hang on to
like grudges.
Yes, it's hard for me to let go of things. But for whatever reason, my prayer was for God to soften my heart. And he sure did. And we have a great relationship now. I mean, compared to what it was, I now don't mind seeing them. I enjoy hanging out with my in-laws. So that was a huge, huge God moment. That was not of me for sure. Knowing my personality, that was not of me. So, and I'm happy. For me, I'm happy for my in-laws, but mostly for Michael, because that had to have been a hard place for him to be in, between a wife and parents. That wasn't easy for him.
Yeah, God restores all things. And so just there's so much that he's done in our family, and those are just small pieces of it. Like there's so much more to even talk about. But it's been incredible to watch, and I think it's important to even remember. The Bible tells us to remember. And so as 5 years have gone by, but when you really stop and think about even just the family we've made, the friendships we've made, we have a whole new set of friends and family that we can like.
I've never been so busy for a summer. Usually I have nothing to do. The amount, and I'm not complaining. It's been fantastic. It's been wonderful. Because we didn't have this in the past. And now we have barbecues with friends and boat outings and dinners and barbecue. It's just been really great. And it's been a group of truly, truly amazing people brought into our lives. Chris being one of them.
Yeah, Chris Rivera definitely being one of them. Yeah, because I think that, we have these fun moments, but it's cool to have a family that like can keep you accountable. Like it's different than hanging out with people that you once knew and don't understand the transformation Jesus has had in our lives, but to spend time with people that understand that, and you can ask for prayer. Or I was just with a couple last night that I met just doing connection team, and just kind of they've poured into me. I look at them as like a spiritual mother and father, and they've prayed with me and stuff. So,
but even people that are not on this walk have a belief system, but not necessarily the Christianity. I found that they'll come to me and ask for prayer at work, and I didn't see that in me. I don't think that I reflected at work, but apparently I do. So that's great too. Like, obviously there's been a change and people have seen it over the past 5 years. So that's been amazing. And people asking questions about church and where I go and how it works and all these things. So that's been really cool.
Yeah, it just reminded me that the Bible says that we are a new creation in Christ and that we have the aroma of Christ. So even though we might not see that sanctification process, that those small changes that Jesus makes in us, like I think that was a great point that, even people at my job, they'll like be like, you're my go-to Jesus person. I'm like, what? Like when did that happen? Like all of a sudden, it's just you do reflect a different light, even though, we make mistakes or we're, still imperfect or,
of course,
but
obviously,
people see that.
people are seeing Jesus in us and us, like you said, reflecting that. So it's been really cool. Even Michael, I had a student, I think I had told you, his name was Big Mac.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
So
that's funny.
He's really cute. I had a kid in 6th grade. He just graduated 8th grade. So he was one of my 6th grade students and his name was Big Mac. And I used to tell Michael about him all the time because he was just a cute kid, but also,
that was his nickname.
That was his nickname. His name is Casey. But he ended up transferring schools and it turned out that he went to where Michael works, which was crazy in and of itself.
Right.
And, unfortunately, he doesn't have a great home life. And it's like God knew he needed a male role model in his life. And he was brought into Michael's life, who knew him by name because he always heard me talk about him. And he ended up on the baseball team that Michael coached.
That's crazy.
And he just graduated, and Michael is now doing one-on-one coaching with him in baseball and doing a Bible study with him. After baseball practice, he does a Bible study with him for about an hour. And Big Mac, or Casey, has now brought several of his friends.
No way.
So he's got like 2 or 3 boys now that he does Bible study with. So even that is amazing.
Is a miracle.
Yeah.
I think about like the time that Pastor Jack would say, like, there's no coincidences anymore when you know God. Like there's only God incidences. And this just feels like that story because it's kind of like, how can you even orchestrate that? Like the fact that, we love our students. So we go home, we talk about them, like, in good favor. And then all of a sudden now he ends up on like your husband.
School. He ends up at Michael's school. Yeah. It was crazy. But it's amazing because Casey needed a male role model and Michael turned out to be that person for him and he loves him. And he even wrote a paper, an essay about him, how he's his hero.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm a little jealous. No.
But you were telling me.
No, I'm kidding. But
there's been situations like that at your job too, where like you bought a Bible for somebody.
Oh yes, I did.
Yes,
I forget about those things. Yeah, it's true.
I remember.
It was my co-teacher. Her daughter was looking into reading the Bible and wasn't sure what type of Bible to get. So my co-teacher came to me and was like, listen, my daughter. So I was like, oh, I'm getting it for her. Please allow me to get her Bible. So I went and bought her a Bible that I thought would be a friendly version to read as a beginner. Right.
But it's funny because you might say, "Oh, I don't remember the things," but
I don't.
But
I feel like I don't do much really. But I guess when you think back,
yeah, you do because even like I said, when I'm greeting or I see you on the cafe and you're like, "Oh, well, I'm more behind the scenes person," but I think that boldness that Christ gives us, like you might not see it on yourself, but I've seen that on Sunday, like as you're speaking to other people, and maybe that's what's translating at your work because. Because like I do feel like you've made those friendships or people are saying like, where's your sister? Where's your brother-in-law?
Really?
Yeah, they ask you where you are if you're not serving. So you do make an impact in small and big ways. And we all like have our own gifting. So some may be more outgoing or some might not be, but
Right.
obviously you're sharing the gospel in your own way by like buying that Bible. Or I notice your husband, he always wears like cross hats, or he says like that's his way of evangelizing, because like all his clothes like say something, a verse or
And in fact, when we went out to the vineyards this weekend, the woman was like, "I love your hat." Remember?
yeah.
You were there with us.
Yeah, that's true. I'm always there.
You sure are.
It's true.
He brings the Bible wherever he goes.
He does. He actually bought me the little Bible that it's in my backpack. Yeah, it's crazy because even when we went to Honduras, like he was the one to like give one of the, I guess, a pastor's like speech or whatever, his own testimony.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Pastor Jerry picked him to like be pastor that night, I guess.
it's funny because Pastor Jerry goes, "Oh, well, we're flying in someone that
I
was
know.
incredible." And I guess you knew about it.
So gullible.
I am very gullible because I'm like, I wonder who the speaker is going to be. It's going to be amazing.
And it was. It was amazing.
It was amazing, but I did not expect a mic to get mic'd.
So the little fuzzy thing, little fuzzy
Yeah,
microphone that kept going around.
Which we're still waiting for those videos from Chris Ravena.
I'm not. I hope mine got deleted.
This is not getting deleted. This was very good, but
I don't know.
I enjoyed this time with you, Joe.
I guess so. Have I? Oh goodness! All right.
I'm so proud of you, Joe. And honestly, like I have to get, I don't know what she's gonna have me do because this is so out of her comfort zone. So
You owe me big time.
I owe her. I don't know what I'm the younger sister, so I feel like she's gonna like boss me around in some way.
Yeah. That would be nice.
But thank you. I think that you being here is definitely helpful to shed light on this ministry that not many people know about. So maybe it'll help them to kind of,
We would love to have more people. It would be fantastic.
Yeah, because it is, like you said, the first service you
Right.
kind of set up, but then you're kind of
Hanging out. And it doesn't have to be, in all honesty, we serve all three services because we don't have enough volunteers. But you can serve for just one of the services or two of the services or the first one or the second one, whatever's more convenient. I mean, that would be fantastic as well.
I will say when you serve at church, like it does something to you that just makes you want to serve more because, sometimes you're like dragging to come to church, but it's like, I know I have to serve. I go in and it really gives you those encounters of like with people that you might have not had on a given day.
Absolutely.
And so you just kind of leave feeling filled. So thank you for that. I wish we had our coffee cups, but they're coming.
Are they?
And we're going to use these beans.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, that's all for SR Studios today. Thank you, and come back for the next ministry highlight.